Are trucking companies going out of business? More than a third of owner-operators surveyed said they're leaving the industry if the second half of this year doesn't improve. The current market is tough enough for brokers and carriers, but what is it going to look like if 30% of owner-ops go belly up this year? Well, in this video, we'll dig into what's going on and how that will affect the market and your brokerage. Make sure to stay with us until the end when we provide tips on using this information to increase your business. I'm Benjamin Kowalski with Freight 360, where we provide the latest transportation sales tips and training videos to help you reach your goals faster. If you're a fan of the content, please support us by smashing that like button and sharing us with all of your colleagues in the industry. The current market is tough enough for owner-ops that a significant number of them are considering folding their business or hiring on with a larger fleet, at least according to a recent survey done by FreightWaves. When asked which situation applies to them, 35% said if the market does not rebound significantly by 2023, they're going to leave the industry. Meanwhile, about 20% said they had trouble finding loads to haul, with less than 8% saying they were considering signing on with a larger fleet carrier. It's not surprising that owner-ops are having a difficult time keeping their head above water. Last year saw sky-high fuel, equipment, and insurance costs, along with a crashing spot market. Now, the average owner-operator did see their revenue increase by 7%, but their expenses increased by more than 22%. The results make sense with the fact that the demand for carriers has decreased in the last year from its all-time highs in 2021. This has hit the smaller carriers much harder since they have less capacity to let their trucks sit idle while waiting for demand to increase or fuel to come down. Now, the other really large contributor to this was the inflated cost for a used truck during the peak. Some of the owner-ops were purchasing power units for 25 to 30% above what a normal cost would be. That's fine during a period of extremely high rates we saw in 21. But if you're relying on the market to stay above $3 per mile to make those payments, you're going to be in trouble. This is a very important lesson for carriers out there. Make sure that your expenses are low enough that you can make money in both the good and bad market cycles. It's a cycle or a circle, right? And over the life of that truck loan, you are definitely going to experience both ends of the market because they typically cycle every year and a half. Now, it is difficult to determine how much and how quickly capacity will leave the market. But this is certainly trending towards a tighter market over the next year. And that brings us to our good news for brokers out there. And quite frankly, it's good news for the carriers that are able to weather the storm. And that is, the other side is brighter skies. The cycling of the market is necessary for it to flex with the demand for shipping services in the overall US economy. There are periods of growth and expansion, but there's also a need to be flexible when the economy needs to contract, like it does now to combat inflation. As more of the capacity leaves the market, the less of the supply is available. And as long as there's not a steep drop-off in the US economy, and most analysts and economists believe that won't happen, the second half of the year is predicted to be much better market for carriers and brokers. And we're seeing this play out in this year's bid season. Many of the shippers are reverting back to annual or 12-month bids, a shift from the mini bids that became prevalent during the peak of demand and lack of capacity in 21. Many carriers and brokers are reluctant to commit to a rate 7 to 12 months from now. The main reason is that most experts believe we will see a much better market for carriers and brokers by then, meaning higher rates for shippers to pay. And from a brokerage perspective, a great tip would be to only offer your shipper rates for the next 2 quarters. And when you're doing this, explain why. Say something like, you don't want to offer rates that are fair now, but won't be enough money to secure the same capacity in 7 or 8 months. And what good is it for me to give you a rate if I can't provide the service for that price any longer? The same goes for carriers. Most know that they won't want to run lanes for current rates if they are significantly higher later this year. Also, keep this in mind not only when you're working on bids or quotes, but in your prospecting calls as well. The market is a circle. If we are at the bottom, we'll soon be on our way back to the top, and eventually back to where we are again. As the old saying goes, this too shall pass. A great strategy is to prospect the next market cycle, not just the one we're in. And the best way to execute that strategy is to have a longer term perspective and conversation with your prospects and customers. Be the broker that adds valuable information by providing these insights along with servicing lanes and providing capacity. Be a consultant, not just an order taker. For more tips and training, be sure to watch our weekly podcast on this channel and check out the description for links for private coaching. And remember, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right.